You don't get rich by buying green candles. You actually get rich by buying red candles. So today's video is going to be focused on buying the dip, as I do think we are going to possibly have a dip on the alts, if not even Bitcoin. And currently Bitcoin has been trading in this range for the past few days after a nice move up to the peak of 124,000. And currently we are ranging in this little box as we collect liquidity from leverage traders who oversize on longs and shorts. And as you guys can see here, we had oversized shorts right there, so that took them out. And then the oversized longs also got taken out there. So we're continuously going to trade this range until we flush the longs and shorts out before we either break up or break down. Now, if we do break down, the number I have targeted right here is about 112. So in between 111 and 113, I think that's a sweet spot for Bitcoin to retrace and give us that dip to correct a lot of alts before we continue higher, possibly targeting 130K and possibly even 150K. I think this next move is going to be really great. And remember, just because Bitcoin moves up doesn't mean the alts have to move up. Instead, the alts tend to move up when Bitcoin is ranging and takes a break with positive sentiment. So the way it works psychologically is people see Bitcoin moving towards the upside and then they see it settle. They're going to be looking for opportunities as they feel like it's a safe time to buy alts. And when Bitcoin dips, we get that correction on alts, and it's going to be very severe compared to Bitcoin because alts are simply more volatile. So I'm looking for us to continue ranging here for at least another week and a half until the beginning of August. And then I expect us to break down from this range to the downside before we actually continue towards the upside. And the reason why is simply because alts correct this way. The whole market hinges on BTC, and for alts to correct, this would be extremely healthy. It would also flush out the over-enthusiastic longs, and then we can continue our march to the upside. Now, on Ethereum, it's pretty much the same story. We had a nice move towards the upside, almost reaching those range highs that we haven't been able to break. But the good news is the more we tap these range highs, the easier it is to break. We haven't quite gotten there, so we might have one more push towards the upside to tap that until we come back down to maybe 2,800 and then look to continue this move to the upside. Overall, very bullish look for Ethereum. And the ETH-BTC chart actually supports this, because if we go over to the ETH-BTC chart, it actually shows us that we are going to be coming up on resistance pretty soon. As you guys can see, we've had this multi-year resistance line keeping us from actually breaking out. We simply deviated from it for far too long, which is why we're getting this nice move towards the upside, but we still haven't broken that resistance line. We actually have some more space to push up here before possibly breaking down and then attempting to break up. So this lines up with what I'm seeing on Ethereum. And it shows that we don't have full-blown alt season just yet, because it's not until we break this resistance line that sentiment truly changes and we see that money flow take us higher and higher. What we really want to see for our next step for bullish Ethereum TA is to take out these previous highs over here. That would create bullish structure. So what we want to see is a move towards the upside, create that higher high, and then maybe pull back and start moving up again. So that's going to require some time, and it takes us well into possibly October or November before that happens. But when Ethereum does get moving, you guys can see just how fast these moves can come. This happened in just 78 days to the high. So we're looking at some major moves coming our way, and the structure is being built right now, but a little bit more patience is going to have to be exercised here. Now let's go to the meme total, because memes are going to be a huge player this cycle, and I'm looking for 2 correction levels on memes, and they can be extremely volatile, which is why it gets tricky. But I think around 68 billion and then at 55 billion, we're going to get some nice opportunity on memes. I'm not sure if we get this deep. It just depends on Bitcoin, but I definitely do think we're going to see us touch 68 billion. That's going to be a nice spot to add on your favorite memes, because they have began moving. So we're looking for constant dips here. We're looking for the MACD and the RSI to reset a little bit. If we go on the 12-hour, we want to get into this red zone here, and we've just began to cross into the red zone, but not quite yet. So we want to reset this so we can continue the march up. But as of right now, I think the sweet spot is going to be around 68 billion. And then if we do dip a little bit further down, 55 billion. But all in all, this is still bullish structure, as we just put in a new high, which is great. And we saved the low down there, even with the war FUD. So all in all, it just looks really good. And I think we're just going to slowly march towards the upside. Now, another thing here you guys can see is from the left side, we have these triple top, which is probably going to provide us with a spring as we march down here and then begin to rocket towards the upside once more. And our next resistance area is going to be right around there, around 90 to $100 billion. Psychological resistance, but also technical resistance, as we have a lot of orders there. We have a lot of supply there as people are looking to unload their memes and take profits. So we're not too far away from that. I wouldn't be surprised to see even one more push towards the upside for the next week or so. and then we can possibly come back down. So not all memes are going to be at the same level. Some of them haven't pumped. I can think Giga hasn't pumped compared to like Popcat. Popcat has been moving. Mog has moved incredibly well. So memes are at different levels. That's why this little leg right here is not going to pump the memes that have already pumped. It's going to pump memes that are lagging. So that's something to keep in mind. But a tap here would be nice to take the liquidity and then move towards the downside. And then when we come back up, the liquidity is going to be weaker, so we can actually break through with less force. And now we move on to DeFi, and DeFi's had an amazing move so far, and I expect we're going to get a little bit of a correction here as we have come up against some resistance. As you guys can see on the right hand side, we have tapped the same top we did last time, and now we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. Wouldn't be surprised to take us back to around 98 billion, 100 billion. And then same thing as the meme coins, we can spring towards the upside. But the good news is you're going to be able to add on to those DeFi coins that you didn't get the chance to do. So these bleed outs are an opportunity to buy the dip, which is why I'm making these videos, because a lot of people get emotional when these moves happen. But you need to remember the markets don't go straight up. We're going to have some pullbacks, and that's why it doesn't pay to FOMO at resistance. You want to FOMO at support, which is coming soon. So you want to stay level-headed. And one more thing that shows us that this dip is potentially coming is the Bitcoin dominance. I talked about it in my last video. And as you guys can see, we have a little bit of green as we come close to this trend line. If we roll over a little bit more, touch it one more time, and then move up, that wouldn't surprise me. But we still haven't broken down for true alt season. And that matches up with all the other charts. FBTC shows that, and even Bitcoin shows that, because true mania doesn't happen until Bitcoin has topped. And I don't think we're close to topping just yet. I think we have a couple of more months before Bitcoin tops around the $190,000 to $230,000 range. We still have a big move towards the upside. So that might take a couple of more months. Now, finally, I've been looking into AI, as I think AI is going to be a huge opportunity. It is the smallest market cap out of all the sectors I've just looked at, DeFi and memes. And I think there's going to be massive opportunity, mostly on Base. From what I've seen, there are a few coins on Ethereum, there are a few coins on Solana, but most of the AI action is happening on Base. So I'm going to be diving into Base to see what opportunities I can find. I'm still conducting some research to present to you guys later in one of my future videos. But as of right now, AI hasn't moved like the rest of the two. Instead, it's stuck on resistance, not able to break down. So we're most likely going to see a retest of this trend line down here about 40 billion before attempting to break towards the upside once more. And one of the biggest leaders in the AI space is Tau, and it really hasn't made that much of a move yet. You guys can see that it's pretty much following the AI total market cap. It is the leader, so it would make sense for it to follow it. It's actually performing a little bit worse because we actually got to this area on the total market cap, whereas Tau is struggling a little bit. And if you're interested in bidding on the winner, the biggest AI cap coin, then I would say around 370 to 360 is the sweet spot to grab some and then target about not 590 for a quick trade, and eventually towards the end of the cycle breaking all-time highs and heading into the $1,000 range. So right now we still have some time to pick up on some AI coins as they are lagging, but I think they are one of the biggest opportunities in this space as they begin to capture more mind share and attention later into the cycle. You have to imagine that 47 billion is not a huge number for AI coins, and we're possibly going to see us move into the 200 to 300 billion dollar range. So that's massive gains waiting to be had in just a few months. We tripled the market cap between August and the end of the year by about 200%. And that wasn't euphoria or altcoin season or anything. It was just a pump in the end of the year. And altcoin season depends on Ethereum mainly because Ethereum is the signal. So all in all, everything is looking pretty great. And the market is very generous to give you opportunities to buy the dip. So if you missed the run up, don't worry, we're going to get dips. And if we do, make sure to bid on them. Don't let your emotions take over. Just make sure you pick the right coins because not everything is going to pump. So to summarize the video for you guys, I think we're going to trade sideways for the next week and a half until we eventually break down, which is going to break down a lot of alts and allow us to buy the dip. And then from that dip, Bitcoin is going to run towards the upside until it consolidates again, where alts will begin to run again. And the cycle will simply repeat until Bitcoin reaches the top and then finally allows the alts to run. So make sure to have your coins picked out and ready to inject capital into, because DeFi, memes, and AI are going to have a wild time this year. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys again on Saturday.